Okay, great. Let's start. Welcome to the Q Master Class Part 1, TradeStation Basics for QLE. I'm Sagar Nandi. You already know about my details, so I'll skip this slide. Let's cover the disclaimer. I am not an investment advisor. This demonstration is for educational purposes only. It is not a trade recommendation. Trading involves risk. You and only you are solely responsible for the outcome of your trades. This is the first part of the master class. In subsequent classes, I will cover all the boxes that are shown on this PowerPoint. Today, we are covering the top right box, software, TradeStation, and data is also, of course, TradeStation. So the top two boxes we are going to cover today. These are the topics that I will cover. Some regular housekeeping, backing it up and restoring, how to organize TradeStation into desktop and workspaces, some commonly used apps, the ones that we use for QLE, charts, radar, etc., studies and study groups. This will cover all the indicators. How macros and hotkeys are used in QLE, how I manage data lists in TradeStation, and then finally I'll walk through QLE. Now, this is not a comprehensive training on TradeStation. It just covers the aspects most often used by QLE traders. If you wanted to learn more detail of TradeStation, you may of course refer to the TradeStation tutorials. They have very in-depth tutorials. Here I will focus on the items that we need to use QLE effectively. Now, regular housekeeping, let's start with that. These are a few steps that are required to keep the platform in good health. Very simple steps. Good health means to avoid unexpected issues and avoid crashes. Sometimes people say TradeStation 10 is not stable. It was so earlier, but now it is quite stable. There is no issue at all using it. If you are sometimes facing issues, that may be related to Windows updates. If you update Windows regularly, then all these issues go away and you are also able to receive the latest updates from TradeStation. For updating Windows regularly, auto update seems not to be enough. Sometimes it doesn't applies the updates immediately. So I have set up a calendar item to do this regularly. You may do it once a month or once in 2 weeks. I have an item in my calendar, whichever calendar one may use, Google or Microsoft, computer housekeeping. And one of the items is to apply Windows updates. Once we apply the updates, TradeStation will automatically apply the latest version. The other housekeeping step required or preferred is to remove the data cache regularly. This I do at the same time when I do the other housekeeping. This is in the folder, documents folder, TradeStation, Cal, cache. While speaking, let me also show that. In TradeStation 10, things are different from older version 9.5. TradeStation test is the preferred version, the up-to-date version. All the components are under documents, not OneDrive documents, under documents and TradeStation 10, this folder. It has a folder structure. I may refer to some other elements of this folder structure later, but I will show you the cache folder. This is the folder that stores the data files under cal. Regularly, when TradeStation is closed, you may delete this entire folder. Now I'll not be able to delete it because TradeStation is running. I may try. Yeah, it doesn't allow because it is locked by TradeStation. So as part of regular housekeeping, you may close TradeStation and delete this folder. Now, how to apply Windows updates, that I think we all know, but no harm covering that. If you go to the Windows search button, bottom left corner, and start typing updates, then you will see this option, check for updates. Click that. It will open the Windows update. You may click check for updates. Most likely I'll be up to date. I regularly check this manually. Whether it is mandatory updates or optional updates, you may apply all of them. It says for me, I'm up to date, so that's fine. So that is part of the housekeeping. Simple two steps. One is the Windows update application, and then second is removing the data cache while TradeStation is closed. Now let's cover the next item, backup and restore. When do we backup? If you want to backup, you may backup after the first time queue installation and then backup if anything is changed. If nothing is changed, some people keep regular backup every week. That is not required. It just takes more processing power. Most of us do not change things week after week on TradeStation. So we don't need to back it up every week. Just back up once after the Q Elite installation, and then if some changes are happening. What kind of changes? Maybe you have created custom desktop or custom workspaces, or there is an incremental update on Q Elite or any other add-on you are using. Only then you need to back up. Not required to back up every week or every month. Why I mentioned that, that may be the default setting in TradeStation, schedule backup, but we don't need that. And then comes the restore. Restore is useful in case there is any issue or corruption of the TradeStation environment. And then another very good use is to restore to a second computer. So if you install Q Elite or any other add-on also on TradeStation on your primary computer, and you want to sync up with another computer, maybe a laptop, you don't have to go through the entire Q Elite installation again. You just restore TradeStation in the destination computer. And for that to work, when backing up, back up everything except data cache. Remember, anyway, we are going to delete data cache regularly. Over time, data cache tends to be very heavy. Sizable amount comes into that data folder I showed. So no point backing that up. Back up everything except data cache, and then while restoring, restore everything. Let's look at this on TradeStation live platform. If we go to File, Backup, Restore TradeStation, for backing up, you choose Backup TradeStation on the source computer, and on the destination computer, you choose Restore TradeStation Archive. When you choose Backup TradeStation, you see there are many items on the left-hand side. For full backup, select all, and you see the data cache here, uncheck data cache. Then start backup. You may choose a folder here. Currently it is set to my desktop, that is fine. Start backup. It will do the backup and it will put the file on the folder, that is the desktop folder for me, where I wanted to put it. Now, if different workspaces and desktops are open, then it will take a while. Sometimes it takes more than other times, more time than other times. And for backup to work, we have to close as many TradeStation items as possible. Many of you may not be writing any code on TradeStation, but if you are writing code, you may close the development environment that is required. And also if you are running Option Station Pro, anything that you are running, you may close for the backup to work successfully. Let's continue. Okay, I had to press the continue. Maybe it was waiting for the continue button. Now it is backing up all the items that I selected. I just uncheck the data cache. Now it is complete. It will display the message backup completed successfully. If this message doesn't come, then we may have to try the backup again. But it is complete now. So let me close it. And I specified desktop as my destination. And you can see this is the TradeStation archive here created by backup. Now to restore, if it was for a different computer, I could copy that file to the destination computer, maybe my laptop. Suppose now this is my laptop. Now I may go to Restore TradeStation Archive, browse to the folder where the backup file is there, select the file, select all. By default, everything is checked, but no harm making sure by clicking select all again and start restore. Start restore will bring everything into the destination computer. It will override any older components. That is fine. We are backing up on the latest version and then restoring on the other computer or on the same computer if there was a crash or something like that. So I'm not, okay, let me start restore, no problem. I hope it will not take so long. It will give a prompt. Do you want to save existing desktops workspaces? It's up to you. Yes or no. Let me click yes. Now it is closing some background processes of TradeStation. TradeStation has a number of background processes. After closing the, okay, it is displaying something on the other monitor. Let me get it on this monitor. It displayed this message. Studies and strategies will be overwritten. That is fine. Proceed. Now, what I was telling, after closing the desktops and workspaces, TradeStation will also close some background processes. So you will see all the desktops vanishing, workspaces vanishing, but this restore window is not coming. That is sometimes because the background processes are still not closed. When background processes are closed, the restore will work. And again, after restore is successful, it should display this message: restore completed successfully. If this message has not come, then we have to see what is wrong, maybe run restore again. If you click OK, then TradeStation will ask for login again. Let me log in. When you log into TradeStation, the way you can set up is to prompt for what desktops to open. We have the Q Elite, the full desktop, and then you may customize your own desktops and workspaces. Let me for now open the full desktop Q Elite that comes with the core installation. Then later on, I will show how you may customize desktops and workspaces. While TradeStation is loading, let me continue with the next slide. What are desktops and workspaces? TradeStation I like very much because it has very flexible desktops, and these are designed for multiple monitors. If you have multiple monitors, you can create separate desktops for each of them so that you can have a complete view of a stock and the markets also by looking at different desktops in one go. Some traders have 6, even 8 desktops, monitors. I have 4. Depending on how many monitors you have, you may create multiple desktops. They are very useful for multiple monitors. Also, they are useful for creating logical steps in workflows. For example, one desktop may be to contain radar sonar and scanning, that is to look for trade signals, and another may be to analyze the charts using at a glance and other charts, and yet another, if you want to use a third monitor, maybe to actually place the trade if you are using TradeStation as your brokerage. So you may use it for multiple monitors, or if not, even if you have a single monitor, maybe traveling with a laptop, these multiple desktops are handy because one is used to scan for trades, another to look at the charts, and third one is to place the trades. You may use Alt Tab to navigate between these desktops. And these desktops are like individual, let's say like individual Excels. So we have Q Edge, Q Vital. One desktop can be one Excel, another is second Excel. And just like Excels can have multiple tabs, the workspaces act as tabs. So a desktop itself can have multiple tabs called workspaces. They are very useful, certainly when you have a single monitor like a laptop. And when we ship Q Elite, that is a single desktop and all the workspaces are contained in that. That's a good example of having all the workspaces in a single desktop. Now I have seen, this is again good housekeeping. Sometimes traders over time create many desktops and workspaces and they lie on their computer. It's not useful to keep them. So as part of my regular housekeeping, I remove desktops that I have not opened for maybe 2 months or 1 month, and same for the workspaces that I don't use. maybe my workflow has changed or my lifestyle has changed, the way I trade has changed. I keep on removing unnecessary items. That keeps things faster as well. So that is how desktops and workspaces are organized. Let's look at Q Elite now. This is the default Q Elite. What we are seeing is the desktop, Q Elite desktop. The name is shown at the top left corner, and the desktop has many workspaces. The default Q Elite has one workspace with one chart analysis, or Q at a glance, which has multiple chart analysis. Other than at a glance, every workspace has a single chart analysis. And then we have the scanning, another one for radar or sonar, another one for looking at the market breadth, alternate at a glance, alternate entry, alternate sonar. So these are all default workspaces that come with Q Elite. How do we navigate between them? That some of these things are very basic. Just click on the tab to open that workspace. If I had multiple desktops, then you can see at the bottom, it is showing one desktop. If I had another desktop open, that would show up here. And you could click on the second desktop to open the second desktop. Now, one thing sometimes you may do, let's look at a glance. It has one radar and two charts, weekly, daily. Suppose I want to maximize the chart to see it over longer period. Now, how do I go to the second chart? By the way, how did I maximize it? This make it full screen will maximize the chart. Let me get my drawing tool. This is to maximize the chart. This is to minimize. This is to close the chart. So I am maximizing the weekly chart. Now, suppose I want to go to the daily chart. How do I do that? One way is to resize it, go to the daily and maximize it again, either by clicking this box, or you may double click on the header. That will also maximize. But instead of doing that, you could maximize one and press Control Tab. Control Tab will move from one application, in this case chart application, to the next application in the same workspace. That's Control Tab. And control page up and page down. You see the display is changing because it is moving from one workspace to another workspace. That is using control page up. We could use the mouse click or control page up, page down to move between different workspaces. And in the same workspace, like at a glance, when it has multiple applications, control tab to move between them. And once we are done looking at the stock using full screen, we may resize it back to the normal size. So sometimes what people may do, instead of having just weekly, daily, as I tend to do, sometimes people may put weekly, backdrop, daily, at a glance, then maybe the stop loss. That is always useful to enter a trade, the stop loss template. Chart template, one may also put in the same workspace. And then the chart sizes will be smaller To make it bigger, one may maximize and use, as I mentioned, Control Tab to navigate through all of them. And while doing that, if you are using Q diary, you may fill up diary by looking at the entry price, target, stop loss. That is one way to navigate between multiple charts in the same workspace, Control Tab. That comes very handy if you want to maximize it. Now let's look at some ways that I have created custom desktops. Though I have 4 monitors, I tend to use 2 monitors for TradeStation. Sometimes I may use 3. When I use 2 monitors, I don't open the full QLED. For QLED, for me, the at a glance is very important. And this radar on the left side of at a glance is also very useful. And then I don't want to load all the charts in QLED at the same time. Some people may do that, and some of you have very powerful computers, so no problem doing that. But I avoid doing that, and I have customized multiple desktops with lesser workspaces. Not all the workspaces that come by default, and I use hotkeys to change the chart views. But I will come back to that. Let's look at what are these things. I mentioned about chart and radar. These are called applications in TradeStation. So we covered desktop. Desktop is designed for one monitor or a logical task. Desktop may have multiple tabs. They are workspaces, and workspaces contain apps. In TradeStation, they are called apps. And the commonly used apps in QLED are radar, that is Q sonar, that is to look for trade setup in real time. Find trades in real time, radar app, not required to wait for the market to close. But it has limitation on the number of symbols you may process at a time. Too many symbols, even if you are able to insert them on radar, the processing will be so sluggish that it is of no practical use. The exact practical limit may be checked on your own computer. On my computer, I have seen I may process up to 200 or so efficiently, and after that it becomes too sluggish. 500 will be too much for my computer. So the exact practical limit you may check. Maybe you may insert Dow Jones Industrials first, 30 stocks. Everybody's computer will be able to process 30 stocks, I think. Then you may insert NASDAQ 100. If that is also fast enough, you may try S&P 500. If that is also enough, then you may try a larger size. That will tell you what is the practical limit on the number of stocks you may insert in radar at the same time. Now, what to do if your working universe is bigger than the practical limit of your computer, especially when you are traveling? Maybe you are carrying a lightweight laptop. Lightweight laptop may not be able to handle 500 symbols. What to do in that case? The way to use Q systems in that case is not to do technical analysis first, but use those stocks in Q Vital first. I'll cover Q Vital in detail in separate session, of course. Just mentioning that when the practical limit of Q radar is reached, but your working universe is bigger than the practical limit, then you may process the stocks with Q Vital first, fundamental first, or you could check industry first, fundamental first, industry first, and then see which stocks are up of your choice, like growth stock, value stock, or both. Then the number of stocks of interest will come down. Even if you start with 500 or even 1000 stocks, it will come down. Most likely it will come down to a size that you can insert in radar. And QVital, QH, these have one button to get the symbols that you can insert in radar sonar easily. So that's the way I use it. If my universe size is bigger than my computer's practical limit for radar, which is always the case, unless I am using stocks with liquid options. So I have a list. I'll come back to that. How do I create that list of stocks with liquid options that has, I think, 200 something stocks. Other than that, when I trade stocks, general stocks, that universe is much bigger, 2000 or so. So I am not able to put that in radar. So I start with vital first or edge first, narrow down my stocks of interest of a day, depending on which ones are up, which ones are strong fundamentals, which ones are in strong industry, etc. And then insert the final stocks in radar. So radar is very useful. It's actually the best feature that any trading platform has for looking for trades in real time. No other platform has so powerful feature. Thinkorswim has something useful, but nowhere as powerful as radar. This is the best functionality, people say, for TradeStation. But it has limitation on number of stocks that is not there for scan. TradeStation has another feature to look for trade setups, scan for signals. That's called scanning, scans. They also look for trades. However, they only work on daily candles after the market close. Or if you are doing weekly scan, weekly duration scan, it will only work after the week is closed. That is not useful for many active traders, especially those who want to enter the trade during the day, during market hours. Also, TradeStation scan is very slow. For example, if you compare with Q Global on Metastock, run the same scan on Metastock real time and run the same scan on TradeStation, Metastock scans will complete much faster. But still, that may be not a concern. Being slow is not a major issue because it is end of day anyway. So what time the scans are useful? Suppose you are having a full-time job, you are anyway not able to open trades during market hours. You are coming back from office and looking for trades. Then you don't have to be concerned about the limitation of radar in terms of number of stocks. You may just run the scans. And one useful feature of scan is that you may schedule them. Schedule the scan. So market closes at 4, you may schedule them, one to run at 4:05 p.m., the next one to start at 4:10 p.m., third one to start at 4:15 p.m., etc. Give some gap between them and they will run. All the data will be ready. You may come back to your computer after 1 hour or so, and all the scans of your interest that you have scheduled will be completed. You may analyze them after market hours. So that is also very useful if you are not opening trades during market hours. For my trading, I don't use scans much. Almost hardly ever I use scans unless Metastock is down. I use radar all the time and I use Metastock scans because Metastock scans are faster. But if you are not using Metastock, certainly you are able to use TradeStation scan. The powerful feature of TradeStation scan is that you are able to schedule it. So it will run automatically at the scheduled time. So these two are apps to look for trade setups and signals. And then chart app is to look at the chart. Now for Q, there are many chart templates. Each chart template is designed to look at the stock or market from a different angle. Now, most Q charts use a single data stream. What is data stream? For example, the backdrop chart, weekly backdrop chart, that has a weekly data stream. So the candles are of weekly interval. Entry chart is daily data stream. Most of them. Actually, until a few days ago, every chart in Q Elite had a single data stream, but not anymore. The exception is the newly introduced chart that displays Q expected move. So there are two chart templates that display expected move. One is the Q entry 2, another is the Q volatility chart. Those two charts have Q expected move and they actually use two data streams, daily and weekly. The weekly is used internally and it is invisible, but this is useful to mention that it has two data streams. Why it is useful to mention? Because sometimes if you see that you are trying to plot Q expected move, but it is not displaying on your chart for some reason, then you may make sure that the weekly data stream is available. That is the only Q indicator that uses two data streams. Therefore, any chart that has Q expected move needs two data streams, daily, weekly, but the weekly is hidden. Because one is hidden, one is visible, it is a little bit cumbersome to set them up properly. So you may not want to set them up yourself. Easiest way to do it, just open the built-in Q charts. If something is messed up, just open the built-in Q charts and copy that chart into your own custom desktop or custom workspace if that is the way you are using them. Now let's look at the apps, but before that, some more apps I will cover. Then I will go to the TradeStation platform and show the apps. There are a few more apps. Let me just cover the major points on PowerPoint. Metrics. If you are using TradeStation as a broker, then I think Metrics is the easiest and most precise way of placing orders for stocks, ETFs, futures, Forex, and also for single leg options. It is the easiest and most precise, that is very important, most precise way and fastest also way to place orders for stocks, ETFs, futures, every instrument, and also single leg, anything that is single leg. So single leg options also, that is the most precise. It has a depth of market, DOM, sometimes called a ladder, where you are able to see the bid ask prices and easily move the price in small increments, maybe 1 cent at a time. So you try at a lower price. If the buy order is not filled, you just move using cursor 1 cent at a time to see what best price you may get for the fill. So I always use metrics to place orders. I never use the order bar. Metrics is a separate application. I always use that to place orders if I'm using TradeStation as a brokerage. And if you place orders, whether they are open or closed, usually I use it to manage active trades. You are able to see the existing trades and very easily able to update them. Maybe you are changing from day order to GTC order, or you're changing the exit price or changing the quantity. Very easy to manage the trades using Trade Manager. Usually I don't use them in my webinars because Matrix and Trade Manager, these two I don't use because they have nothing specific to Q Elite. They are TradeStation basic feature, comes with TradeStation. I didn't do anything on them, but very powerful. I will show them. I'm not sure if any of you are using TradeStation as a brokerage, but I will show them. For USA residents, TradeStation also offers zero commission. I have no affiliation with them, but if you are based in the USA, most of you or all of you are. Then TradeStation also offers zero commission for stocks, options commission, very competitive. So if you are analyzing on TradeStation, placing trades on the same platform, that may speed up things a bit. And also that is more efficient in terms of computer processing power. If you are opening TradeStation for analysis but placing trades, let's say on Thinkorswim, then you are having to open two applications, navigate between them. You may consider using TradeStation. Again, I have no affiliation, but I like TradeStation's features related to placing and managing orders. Now, if you are trading options, most of you are probably also trading options. It has a very powerful, and I may say it is visually more useful than even Thinkorswim. How to see the risk profile and how to manage option legs. In terms of that, TradeStation Option Station Pro, I think, is more powerful than Thinkorswim. Thinkorswim has some advantages as a brokerage platform, but that is not related to how to visualize your options, the option strategy. In terms of visualization, TradeStation has done a better job. Easy to manage and exit individual legs after opening the trade, and you are also able to organize the individually traded legs into a complex strategy. So if you are planning to trade a vertical, many traders don't place two trades for a vertical. That is, most traders don't leg in, but if you are legging in, let's say a put vertical has a long put and short put, you may trade them together. That's called a vertical. Mostly people do that. But if you legged in, and when might you leg in? Let's say I wanted to take a bearish trade on Facebook today, let's say, and I bought a simple put, and I'm seeing that it is, let's say, I don't know how it is doing today. Let's say a stock is going below early range low. I want to buy a put. I bought a put, but I don't like to buy naked puts. I see the stock is falling on intraday chart, so I buy a put. And the moment I see it is pausing, maybe it is displaying a bear release signal, bull release signal. So first it's become oversold, and now it is displaying a bull release signal. Now I may leg in. So I bought a put when it broke below early range low, and I sold the put after it has come down somewhat. So I get a better credit. So I legged in. So I legged in has as two different trades, but I would like to know that it is actually a vertical. TradeStation allows that. Even if you executed trades as individual legs, after placing the trades, you are able to combine them. So two legs, you may combine them or vertical. And even if you traded something as a vertical, two verticals make one iron condor. So if you traded two verticals, but maybe one vertical you entered first, the second vertical after some time, then the four legs can again be reorganized as iron condor. So you may exit them as a single strategy. So this feature is useful, sometimes useful, not mandatory, but useful. And I think TradeStation has done a better job in that you may reorganize different legs into strategies. Another example, maybe you bought a stock first, didn't sell the call, but after some time you sold the call. Now you want to see them as covered call, not as a stock position and a short call option position. TradeStation allows them to reorganize the two individual trades as a single strategy. So you may visualize your trades in Trade Manager better and also exit the trades better as a single strategy. That is very flexible in TradeStation. And the third thing that is there in TradeStation Pro, very powerful and most underutilized. Even I don't use it much. they could do some improvement, but in terms of searching for option strategies, Option Station Pro has a search facility that is fantastic. In fact, I know some traders, some of you also pay for other applications to do similar analysis. I'm not sure if Option Station Pro can do everything that you do on other platforms, but it is included inside TradeStation and you may try it out. It's fantastic, in fact. Again, I'm not comparing with any other product, but it is very useful and I will try to demonstrate. Even I don't use it all the time. I have got accustomed to trading verticals and verticals in a particular way. What is that way? You already know that. Try to buy a leg and sell another leg so that the credit is about half the debit. That is my habit. But I have seen, suppose I have a strategy in mind. I look at its risk profile, P&L profile, and then I use the search facility in Option Station Pro to find, let's say, an optimal, so-called optimal strategy. And more often than not, the optimal strategy will look better. I have to use few more mouse clicks, but the optimal strategy looks better. And I'll try to demonstrate that with live system today. If you are not in a hurry to place the option trade, you may certainly use the search facility. You may start with a strategy in mind, construct, let's say, one vertical, let's say Facebook long put vertical you have in mind. You create a vertical, look at its risk profile, and then use the search facility to see, does TradeStation offers a better vertical strategy? And more often than not, it will offer a better strategy. Most likely we'll end up taking the one TradeStation suggests. Why so? Because when we are creating the strategy, we have a heuristic in mind. Like I mentioned, credit should be about half the debit amount. That's something I have in mind. Also something I have in mind, about 45 days to expiry, normally 30 to 45 days. Those are fixed parameters in my mind, but TradeStation will go through all the option expiries, all the strikes, and then based on your trade expectation, how much it is expected to move within, let's say, 2 weeks, you give that input. It will look at the volatility, that is the pricing, implied volatility or pricing of all those hundreds and thousands of option chains, and decide which single leg strategy or which multiple leg strategy is optimal. Very powerful feature, and I'll try to demonstrate that today. That is a very useful application. I think it is very underutilized. Okay, we'll look at that and see how it works. Let's now look at these apps. What are the apps we will look at? Radar, Scan, Chart, Matrix, Trade Manager, Option Station Pro. Let's look at Radar. Radar is a tabular application like this. Let me link with. Radar is a tabular application where you may insert the symbols and it will carry out calculations and display in real time what is going on. In Q, there are multiple radars, but I'll not go into that. There will be separate detailed session on Q itself. But once you open a radar, Q called sonar, you may insert the data from here. Data, you may click add symbol, but if you are inserting one symbol, you don't need to go there. Just click here and start typing. So let's try the FANG stocks. Facebook Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Tesla. Okay. You see, as I am typing the symbols, it is retrieving data and doing all the calculations. Now, radar has only one data stream. This is the data stream daily here. Most of the Q radars are based on daily data stream. How do you change it? If you want to change the interval for all the symbols, you may click the header of the symbol, this header, click on time frame and change to weekly or any other interval you want, 30 minutes, anything. Because it is real time, you may use any interval, daily, weekly, 5 minutes, 30 minutes. Let's change to weekly. And now all the calculations are done for weekly interval. Sometimes you may look at weekly interval to see if there is a touch on the weekly interval. This is one powerful trade setup, that if weekly is touched and daily is breaking out. So you may sometimes change the interval to see which stocks are touching weekly trend line, maybe support or resistance. Keep only them and then select the symbol header again, change it back to daily. See the ones that are touching, say, weekly support, are they now breaking out of resistance? That is how you may combine multiple intervals. First, look at the weekly, decide on what you want to see. Keep only those stocks. How do you keep only those stocks? Just delete, highlight the other stocks and press delete key. Keep only those stocks and change the interval. That's how you do multiple interval analysis on Q sonar. That's on radar. Radar cannot do multiple interval analysis at the same time. We do one interval at a time. Mostly we don't use it that way. We just look at the daily interval first and then look at the charts. That's the practical way. But some people may want to be very methodical. They may check weekly first and daily first, but that's not what most people use. I just wanted to mention how you may change the interval. The interval change may be also useful if you are doing intraday trading and you want to look for, let's say, go with flow setup on half an hour interval. Then you may change the interval that way. Now, typing symbols one by one is tedious. So we may create data lists instead of typing them one by one. And if you have data lists created, they are showing up in add symbol list. And there are some default symbol lists in TradeStation, like this S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, Dow Jones, and many more are there under other symbol lists. If you go to other symbol lists, it will show you custom Reuters TradeStation. Under Reuters, you will have different industry groups. If you choose an industry group, it will show further detail. And if you go to chemical manufacturing, it will show you the stocks under chemical manufacturing. Is it useful? Do I use it? No, I don't use it. You see, many of these stocks are OTC stocks. They are not useful for trading. So I don't use these industry groups, neither the Reuters here, nor the TradeStation index components here. Instead, I use Q, Edge, and Vital to look at the industry that is strong first, sector that is strong, industry that is strong, drill down to stocks, either from S&P 1500, or I look at all the liquid stocks for a particular industry using Vital, then get those symbols into TradeStation. Trying to find trades from these industry groups may not be useful. Also, it will be very difficult to sync up with this industry with Q edge industry. So this is not the practical use. I never use this Reuters symbol list and TradeStation symbol list. I use only custom symbol list in TradeStation, and that too only the Q liquid options. For all other lists, I use Q Vital. Q Vital has one universe tab where I have put all my useful lists, and those are usually very broad lists. I create specific lists in real time using filters, Edge Vital index filters. Only broad lists are maintained, and they are maintained in Vital in a single place. Only the liquid options I keep here because that has a relatively small size. I may drop it on radar. Now, once I drop it, you will see the cursor has moved to the bottom of the stocks. It has total 260 stocks. You may see from this first column, 260 rows in this list now. And if you look at the cursor here, this scroll bar, it has come to the bottom. So you may scroll by using the mouse, scroll it up, or I like to use keyboard, just keep on pressing page up, it will go to the top. As I mentioned, my computer is able to handle this list, the list of stocks with liquid options, and this is how you insert symbol lists into Radar and then look at the analysis. Now, Radar has many columns. You may double click on any column header. Let's look at breakout. Double click on header. It will sort by that column and all the breakout signals will come to the top. If I sort by box, there is no box setup or it is still processing. If I want to sort by percentage change, that is change from previous days close, C plus minus, double click on that. The worst performers are coming at the top. If you double click again, it will reverse the sort order. So double clicking does the sorting, double clicking again will reverse the sort order. That is how to use the radar. Now, when I have looked at some stock in radar, let's say I am analyzing LEV. It has one headwind, one box, bullish pressure, many indicators. I'm not going to look at the specific indicators, but suppose I look at the stock chart using at a glance, and I decide to trade or not trade. If I decide to trade, I place the trade. If I don't trade, meaning I am not interested in the stock, I come back to radar and delete that stock. That way, it doesn't consume power. Otherwise, every tick that is traded for every stock in this radar list, it's consuming processing power. If I'm not going to trade it, I delete that. So only the stocks that may be of interest remain. That saves a lot of processing power. I have seen sometimes traders keep hundreds of stocks running in radar. That's not useful. I drop it. Firstly, my radar is usually blank. I drop the symbols only when I'm looking for trades. If I'm not looking for new trades, my radar is blank. And even after I drop the symbols, I look at a stock, either I take a trade or decide not to trade. Once that decision is made, I delete the symbol from this radar. Let's delete everything. That is the radar application. Works on one interval, can process everything in real time, all the signals, and can handle hundreds of stocks, but not thousands of stocks at one time. Now look at the scan app. Scan app has many scans. Q has many scans. I'll not again go through the detail of Q's system, but Q has many scans. How do you run the scans? this is the run button. You may click that to run. Let's run, let's see. Let's run long breakout. Let's run long breakout. And you can see it is retrieving the symbols, applying server filter, and now applying easy language. So whatever Q calculation is there, it is applying now. Server filters, meaning it has applied some filter at TradeStation end itself. And you can see the number of symbols processed. Started is 254 and Q is also processing 254. So in this case, server filter didn't exclude anything. The progress bar is showing how much processing is completed. Once it is done, it will display the symbols that are selected by this scan. While the scan is running, if you wanted to cancel the scan, you see there is a cancel scan at the bottom and also cancel scan here. If you click that, the scan will be cancelled. Why you may want to cancel the scan sometimes? Maybe you wanted to run a scan on all liquid stocks, but by mistake you are running on only liquid options. Then you may want to cancel the scan and change the symbol list on which it is running. Now in radar, you drop the symbol list to see the signals, and in scan, you define beforehand what symbol list it is processing on. And I'm going to show after this calculation is complete, I'm going to show where you see that, or I may see that now itself. Let's choose another scan, long box. If you double click or you click on the customize button at the bottom, it will open the scan. And on the left hand side, there are multiple choices. The one choice that you may use, if at all, the other choices are not useful if you're using Q. Everything is predefined. One that you may use, if anything at all, is the symbol universe. But I don't use even that. But if you wanted to change the symbol list of one particular scan, you could come here and change the Q symbol list to anything that you want. Now running it on all NASDAQ, all NYC is not useful. Many of those stocks are not liquid. So if you at all wanted to change, probably you would have another custom symbol list. Let's say all liquid stocks. I don't have that here. I just have Q liquid options. As I mentioned, for scanning the entire liquid stocks universe, I use Q Global or Metastock. But if you are not using Q Global Metastock, you want to run the scans here, you would have another custom symbol list here, maybe with 2000 plus stocks. That's Q liquid stocks. And you may change the symbol universe here. You may choose the other one. Let's say this one. And you may use the X to delete. That's one way to change the symbol list on which scans are running. But how Q Elite is designed is we don't change the symbol list individually for all these scans. So Q has used this way that all scans run on a single symbol list, Q scan symbol list. So if you want to change the symbol list, change what is inside Q scan symbol list. You don't come and change the symbol universe one by one for all these scans. That is very tedious. I designed Q systems for myself, and it would be very tedious to go through all the scans and change the symbol universe. Instead, I have used a single universe in all scans, Q scan symbol list. So if I wanted to change the symbols, I just change this single list and don't make any change by customizing the scan. How to change the symbol list? I'll come back to that, but let's look at long breakout. It will show the output like this. I just ran this. You can see result as of 13 September 12:01:32 p.m. Oh, already 1 hour. Okay, I hope you have some more time. Thanks for continuing to join me. So these are two long breakouts. So if you click them, you may look at them using the other workspaces. Now, one thing to mention that how am I able to click on a stock on radar or scan and see it on another workspace? That is done using workspace linking, and there is also something called interval linking. The workspace linking or symbol linking, sorry, symbol and interval linking. The symbol linking is defined by color. You see this magenta color here, and it has one round corner. That is called a global linking. Round corners are global linking. And you will see I have linked at a glance with scan, same color and round. If you wanted to change the linking, you could choose different colors. For practical purposes, all the Q Elite workspaces use the same global linking. Same global, except there is one exception. When you don't want to change the symbols on a chart, when you, for example, I'm looking at ON, but let's try to look at Facebook. When I type the symbol Facebook, I would like it to change to backdrop, this tab, price extreme tab, volatility tab, stop level, all of them. You can see this global magenta color linking. Global is round corner, round left side. But I will not like to change the market breadth intraday, and because those are looking at market breadth, not specific to a stock. That's why you see market breadth intraday has no linking. The linking symbol linking is blank. This is not symbol, because I would not like to change the symbols here as I analyze new stocks using at a glance or use radar or sonar or scan. Instead, here I am using the interval linking. That is done through I, and here there's only one workspace, so I don't need global link. The bottom links are global link that will link across workspaces, and the top links are local link that is local to the current workspace. Now this is Q global, Q market breadth. So now I'm looking at 10 minutes. If I wanted to look at 5 minutes, you see, if I'm clicking the interval here, 5 minutes, it will change all the charts here because they are linked with interval. Same interval will apply to all of them. Go back to 10 minutes, everything will change to 10-minute interval. That's an easy way to see if on 30 minutes there is a breakdown from trend line support or not. Or is it reversing? For example, here, DIA was reversing from a 30-minute trend line resistance at this point. Then we could change to 10 minutes and see that in 10 minutes, it was breaking down from trend line support. And I mentioned that's a very powerful signal. Reversal, that is resistance in longer time frame, and then breaking down on a shorter time frame. That's a powerful signal. So that way, you could identify signals on multiple time frames using this change interval and linking multiple charts with interval. And when I change the interval here, of course, the Q at a glance didn't change because there the interval linking is switched off. Interval linking I switch on only for this Q global market breadth. And sometimes I have another FANG stock workspace. I look at all the mega caps. Those are also interval linked and not symbol linked. All the other Q workspaces are symbol linked. So I looked at the radar, looked at the scan app. I mentioned that if I wanted to change the list, I would not like to go to individual scan and change the symbol list for so many scans. Instead, I just change the content of that list. How do I do that? That is in TradeStation directory structure. under documents TradeStation 10, the second folder is custom symbol list. And here you can see there is a list, QScan symbol list. Now, suppose I want to change the scan list to Q liquid options. So what I will do, I will select Q liquid options, Control C or copy, Control V or paste. That will create a duplicate of Q liquid options because I don't want to damage the original one. Now, whatever is there in QScan symbol list, I don't need it now. So I'm highlighting it, just copying the name because I need that exact name and deleting that list and renaming the copied list to that name used by all QScan. So what I did, I created a copy of my intended list and renamed it with the default name, QScan symbol list. And I just copied the name from the old file so that I don't make any typing mistake. So now if I run the scans, they will run on QLiquid options. That's an easier way to change the symbol universe for all the scans in one go. That's how I use it. And usually I use radar, not use scan really, but if you are looking for stocks using TradeStation scans at the end of the day, you may have another list here, certainly at least one, that is the liquid stocks. And you could rename that liquid stocks to QScan symbol list and run the QScans. All of them will run on the full liquid stocks list. Now the chart application. I have to mention something on the chart application. Chart application has the interval. You can see it here, weekly, daily. And if you right click, there is a data. If you go to edit symbol, backdrop chart has one data stream. Most of the charts, as I mentioned in Q, has only one data stream. If it has only data stream, it will just show the interval. We don't have to do anything here. Why I showed that is if I instead come to the volatility, just one minute. Okay. Okay, this is a good example. See, volatility is not displaying the expected move. I was thinking it should display, but it's not displaying. So let me check the data stream. Edit symbol. It has only one symbol. That's what I mentioned. Only the two chart templates, that is the volatility chart and the alternate entry chart, that are supposed to display expected move, they need two data streams. But this is also not displaying two data streams, not displaying the expected move. So I go to data, just make sure it has one data stream, edit symbol. If it is directly showing the symbol, then it has only one data stream. So what I do, this is how you create multiple data stream. Add symbol. Remember the current symbol here, Facebook. So I am typing Facebook again, prompt for editing and plot. Why I need to prompt? Because I need to change to weekly interval. 5 years is fine. Now, as I mentioned, you don't do all these things in real life. You would just copy the default workspace that comes with QLit, but no harm knowing how to do that. So I am adding a weekly data stream and I made it hidden. You don't have to know how I made it. You might have noticed what checkbox I click, but not important because you may simply open the default one. Once there are two data streams, and if I now go to data, edit symbol, it will not show me the earlier dialog. It will ask me to choose which one I want to open, but I don't want to open. I just wanted to make sure and show you that now I have two data stream, but you see only the daily is displayed. And now if I change the template again, okay, maybe something happened when I backed up and restores. It's not displaying the expected move. That's good. I'll come back to that. That's good. Just hold that thought. I'll come back to that. Data lists I covered. Now, when I am inserting these chart templates, what they are? They are different studies. And if you go to right click studies, add study, there are different types of studies. Let me cover them. There is indicator. Indicators are studies like this relative performance or the direction line or the memory trend line. They are called indicators in TradeStation. They are something to be displayed on the chart or on the radar. Radar has those columns. Many of them are indicators. They are plotted on the chart as a line or as a dot. Like this one is also an indicator across. And then there is show me. Show me is something that is appearing on the chart, but not anywhere on the chart, right on top of the candle or below the candle. For example, this indecision at the top or bottom or headwind, those are show me in Q Elite. But you don't have to know that. Just good to know that there is something called indicator, that is anything plotted on the chart. Show me is like indicator, but it is used to plot something only on top of the candle or below the candle. Now remember, something on the top of the candle doesn't mean it is always show me. For example, in Q Elite, the bull release, bear release, it is plotted on the candle or below the candle here, bull release, but that is coded as indicator, not show me. But those are technical details. Show me can only appear on a candle or below a candle, above a candle, below a candle. Indicator can be anywhere on the chart. And paint bar is a study that is used to color the bars. So backdrop is a paint bar. Q entry has a paint bar. Here you can see the bongo in alternate chart that has a paint bar. Those are paint bars. These are studies. Those are already coded interest and Q Elite. You don't need to do anything. Why I mentioned that is that once the studies are coded, they may be grouped into study groups. And in Q Elite, the study groups are already defined. If you go to studies again, right click studies, edit study groups. Because I right click on chart application and go into study groups, you will see all the Q study groups here for chart. And these study groups you can see has multiple studies inside them. If I go to Q entry 2, it has multiple study groups. Let me apply that. How to apply that? Highlight that and click OK. And you can see expected move is still not coming. So if I wanted to add a particular study, not the study group, which has multiples, add one study. So let me click add study, indicator, search for Q expected move. Not there. Okay, so maybe when I did backup restore, something went wrong. Q expected move. Never mind. But this is a way you could add studies to a particular chart to create custom chart templates. For example, this alternate chart, suppose I want to use Q boundary also. Just as an example, add study Q boundary. I don't want to do prompt for editing. You may prompt for edit and set some parameters, but we don't have any parameter. Let's see it plots correctly or not. Yes, boundary is also plotted. It's not how I'm going to use it because I already have boundary in the Q entry chart. But once you create a custom study group, custom chart template, like this. You may save it as save study group, give it your own name, if at all you are interested. Sagar's Q2 entry, and save it. I'm not going to save it. Once you save it, you are able to apply it again. Now, why I covered studies and study groups? Because after you combine studies into study groups, you may combine them into a macro. And you can see here, there is a button for macro. So Q has many macros. If you see Q backdrop, it is a macro. Entry is a macro. The macros have hotkeys. They are predefined, and there is a post on Q forum which hotkey is for which macro. The macros are used in Q Elite to change the chart template. So usually you have seen that on Q at a glance, I don't like to change charts to different study groups. And now I explain the reason why I don't do that. You see, when I applied the study group again, it sized these panels. These are called panels to default size. If you apply a study group or use the macros to apply the study groups, use the hotkeys to apply the study groups, it resizes. But I don't want my activity or volume panel to be so large. I want to give more space to this. So I could define that once by dragging this separator for the panel size. And now this is the correct size for me. So I don't use hotkeys on at a glance because this is very visually correct fitting for me. If I wanted to change a template, I go to another chart template and use the hotkeys there. So currently it is the jump thrust entry. If I wanted to change, I could use the hotkey to change to volatility, and I could go back to jump thrust entry again. So I described the studies, study groups, macros, hotkeys primarily to come back to this point that there are hotkeys defined to change chart templates easily. And now I'll come to why that is useful. I mentioned earlier, I don't want to open, especially if my computer is not so powerful, all these charts in one go. I would like to have at a glance, I would like to have Q market breadth and few others, but not every chart template that is possible in Q Elite. That's why I have, you have seen in my webinars, there is a custom desktop that I have created, Q360 degrees live. Here I can run scan, and I have another one where I may place trades. So let me open both of them. So in my own trading, I open Q360 degrees live on one monitor and trade on another monitor. Give it a few seconds to open. Now, one thing I do, not only in Q Elite, all Q programs, I don't save anything when I'm closing because it has the possibility of messing things up. If I don't make any change that I require, I don't want to save. So the big Q Elite one, default one, the big desktop, I'm going to close it now. How to close one particular desktop is go to that desktop. I'm on Q Elite now. I am going to click File, Desktop, Close Desktop. And I always choose No to All. I don't like to save. I don't know what change. For example, I added the boundary line just for demonstration. I did something maybe on radar. So I don't want to save. No to All. So I'm left with the usual setup I use, one desktop where I have the startup that is for Q Elite's use, then the at a glance, then I have the single chart. This single chart I use to change the template. Say hotkeys I'm using to look at early range breakout. Now I'm looking at the stop loss all the things I'm doing in the single chart, not on at a glance, because this panel sizing will go away. But this is visually very correct for me. That's one reason. It's a practical reason why I don't change the chart templates on at a glance. You will see during webinars also, I always move to the single chart and then change the templates there. And here you have seen during webinars, I have the scans, which I don't use for the reasons I mentioned, because I have Q Global and I have the Sonar radar. Now let me move the other trade desktop. Trade desktop has multiple workspaces. Here I may keep some of the stocks of my interest on the left. Airline stocks are of interest to me. I have multiple stocks that are of interest. Maybe I'm trying to trade them, but more importantly, I wanted to show the matrix. This is the matrix. Let me link them properly. This is the ladder. You can see the price is moving. The bid ask prices, how many orders are there. It's on simulation. I have locked it by default. So unlock all. Let me just for showing. Suppose I want to place an order. Let's say I want it to come down to this level, 2309. So I'm going down, going down, going down, 2309. Clicking here. This is my buy order. And if it comes down, fills me, great. If not, I may, you see, drag and move it up, say 2309 to 2320. And I see prices coming down. Maybe I want to be filled at a better price. I can pull it down to 23 and then watch it, maybe not on 10-minute interval, 5-minute interval. And I'm not a day trader, so I don't want to go below 5 minutes, but if somebody is day trading, they may want to enter even more precisely. They may move to 1-minute interval. The moment it stops to go down, go up again, maybe a bullish flow color or some trend line is broken, they may use different interval to place the order. And there are different buttons to decide what kind of order to place. I will not take detailed course on metrics, but metrics is very useful. There is something also called chart trading. You are able to, if you enable chart trading, is it enabled? Setting. Not sure exactly where it is. There is an option to enable chart trading where you may click on the chart and place trade. But I find the best way is to use the metrics, because you may see the bid ask. And if you want, you can see the volume at different prices. You may decide where to place your order using this metrics. And if you use the broker, then once you place the order, you can see the existing orders. This is the order I just entered. If I want to cancel it, I may cancel it from here also. Let's cancel all. Cancel, yes, that will go away. That is how I have organized my desktops. You are using Q Elite, all of you, and you may be using other add-ons also. You may have one desktop for Q Elite, one for another one, or you may have one for radar. That is for very useful. I always keep radar on one, sonar on one, and the at a glance on another one. So I keep on flipping between symbols on radar, and on another monitor, look at the chart to decide which one to buy, which one to sell. Let me see if I wanted to cover any more topic. No, I have covered all the topics that I wanted to on the features that we use on TradeStation. Any questions that you may have? Okay, there is a question. What is from Mike, what is the preferred workspace for trading intraday? Okay, good question, very good question. If I am trading intraday, what I like to do is always keep this on another monitor. If I'm doing intraday, I don't do much. Even if I'm entering swing trades precisely, this is on a separate monitor. So I would like to keep an eye on the overall market. And if the market was coming down, let's today may not be the best example, but let's see. In the beginning, okay, I may use this one. In the beginning today, after market open, SPY was coming down, QQQ coming down, IWM coming down, and DIA didn't come down. So 3 out of 4 were coming down. If I wanted to buy a stock, I would wait. I will of course look at that chart also, but I will wait. So that is why I keep this on one monitor, separate monitor. And this stock that I wanted to buy, not in this, see all the airline stocks. I mentioned earlier, I was interested in buying all the airline stocks, HA and Sky W. By the way, they are both very strong fundamentally. Now, I was showing you the intraday market breadth charts. That is always on one chart. So at the bottom, when you see SPY, QQQ, IWM, DIA, all of them stopped, or most of them stopped, started to go up. Then I am looking at my stock of interest, and I have, you see, the stock watch, the ones that are of my interest. So HA is one. I could put Skyworks, another one, SKYW, two airline stocks. So I am looking at them, and if I see they are going up bullishly, that is, and it is aligned with the market. So you see here, HA tried to come down, this red candle. Let me draw. It tried to come down, and immediately it broke out with a bullish flow. And Skyworks also broke out. So in fact, I took a long trade in both of them today, somewhere here, using this workspace. So I keep the stocks that I am planning to enter trade in one monitor, stock watch. I keep the market breadth intraday in one monitor. And now how I found HA and SKYW, that I have already found before, or I could find them in real time using radar. In this case, I already knew about these two stocks. I was interested in buying them. So I kept them on a separate monitor. The stocks of my interest, by the way. Facebook, I was thinking of shorting. QQQ, I have a short position. But SkyWest and HA, I kept an eye today. I was already knowing, interested in buying them, and looking that market was coming down, but these two stocks were going up, I bought both of them. That's the way I do. I would do the same thing for intraday trading. I'll put the symbols of my interest on a separate monitor. And if I'm using TradeStation broker, now I am having to show you everything on one monitor. Then I will have another monitor open with my metrics. The moment I see a signal is coming in a stock, maybe HA, then I move to that monitor, and I may change the actual stock HA to 5 minute. Usually I don't go to 1 minute. Sometimes worst case, I don't know, worst case or best case may go to 2 minute, but mostly 5 minute I stop. So I actually place the trade on this monitor, this workspace on a separate monitor, keep an eye of stocks of interest that I want to enter today on another monitor, and market breadth is always running in a third monitor. Any other question? Well, it took more than 1 hour, but that's okay. The aim is to show how to use TradeStation effectively for Q Elite. I covered everything that I wanted to do. Thank you. Then I will have the next session on Metastock, features on Metastock that is required for Q Global. I'll schedule it for Wednesday. We have the regular session, so not maybe Thursday. Thursday, 11 a.m. EST. I'll schedule the session for basics of Metastock for Q Global. Thanks a lot for joining. I look forward to seeing you in the next session again. Have a great day. See you soon.